This video is brought to you by Robinhood, the investment brokerage app that lets you buy stocks, ETFs, and crypto all commission free. Did you know since the start of the March stock market crash, over 800,000 new brokerage accounts have been created, and buying stocks was the third most popular thing that people spent their stimulus checks on? I know I did. So stop missing out and use the link in the description below. Get your free stock just for signing up, no deposit required. And finally, this is my real portfolio. What's up YouTube? Capital G here. Got some fantastic duels for you guys to check out that will feature two completely different aspects. The first is totally not how to play the generator archetype, and the second is a very unique and interesting build of Kwakemiru. And you might look at the opening hand and say, Cap, this seems pretty normal. You got your Kwakemiru wall over here, and you got a diamond core on the other side, and then you just got some, cards that see a lot of play in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! So what makes this one unique or different? And this is actually a Gem Crocodile Cook, or I'm just gonna call it Fossilized Kwakemiru. And when you really think about it, the new fossil cards, like, they all kind of rely on rock monsters being in the graveyard. So I think that it actually makes sense. Like, this guy requires a rock, and they just require rock monsters as like materials, and the Kwakemiru archetype happens to be rock. So if you don't have Weathering Soldier, you can still technically summon them, which is awesome. And it helps kind of give Kwakemiru a little more offense, which the deck has always kind of struggled in. That's why they were so good in Duel Links, but in real Yu-Gi-Oh, not so much. Anyways, let's go ahead and roll this and see what's going to happen. Now, generators don't have a lot of offense in their first turn. That's kind of why I decided to play Invoked with them. And honestly, you're just looking to hit generator stage ASAP. He has boss fight, which gets him to stage. By the way, I've said this so many times. When you really start playing the generator archetype, I'm talking about for a good amount of time, you'll actually realize the only good spell and trap in the archetype is stage. I mean, you get boss fights cool because it gets you to stage, but that's basically it. All the other spells and traps in the archetype are actually just trash. They don't really do that much. Anyways, he is going to get, the effect of the boss stage, and that gets some Lopter, which you almost always are going to trade in one of those tokens to get Har from your deck, because Har is a behemoth, 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense with that bonus, and it's walking negation. Now, I believe he could have actually, during the end phase, negated Overload's effect, but he just didn't, and I'm not exactly sure why. Unless, well, you know what, actually, maybe, yeah, you know what, I don't think it actually would have been destroyed, because I think he had banished the Kwakemiru core, the diamond core, so I don't think it would have been destroyed. So, yeah, I guess it would have been kind of pointless. That might have been why he didn't negate it. He would have been like, Cap, it's pointless to do that. Anyways, he's going to run it over, and then he's going to summon the Kwakemiru Supplier. This is a card I don't recognize, and it's very, it's very seldom that I just don't recognize a card at all, but I think that this card is not legal, or it's not out in the TCG, because yes, it's very seldom I just see a card and I have no idea what it is, but I think it's an OCG card right now. World Legacy's Burgeoning is going to be used, and that gets some a couple of these big generator monsters from his deck. But then he kind of goes troll territory. He could have gone for any rank 9. Guys, I just do not like the generator boss monster. I think it's so bad. Now look, I kind of understand why you go for it. It has an effect that can make both players draw, and it's not terrible if you have Har on field, because you can make your opponent draw a card, and then you get to take a card from their hand. So your opponent doesn't get anything, but you technically get a draw out of it. So that, I can kind of see that, but it's going to get super polyed, and then he is going to summon Hela from his deck, and then he's actually going to revive it. So he's kind of doubling down on this whole generator sea monster win condition. In fact, he even gave up Har and Lopter, which I think is crazy. He gave them up just to get some materials on this guy, so I don't know what he's doing. Anyways, stage is going to get Ash Blossomed, and now he's going to summon Guardian, and he's going to go for Verde Anaconda. And this is where the duel is going to actually flip a little bit, because he's going to use that Fossil Fusion from his deck, and then he's going to summon the Skull Giles. Now, this card is actually nuts against, decks that put out tokens, because this card is it's very similar to Blue Eyes Chaos Max. It does piercing damage, and it does double battle damage. And generally, that's a recipe for disaster if you're a token player. Like, you don't want tokens getting attacked by these monsters, because it's very likely that you'll just die. Anyways, he is going to be able to get Lopter, but let's see if you got to make sure that you don't run out of Hars when you're playing the deck, because if you run out of Hars, you kind of don't have like the greatest win condition. He is going to summon the Skull King, which is actually going to do something pretty sick. He's going to activate Dark Ruler No More. Super Poly will take one monster off the field, and then he's just going to go ahead and start attacking tokens. Again, no damage. But check this out. He's actually, this was really sick, right? His opponent draws a Har, which is really unfortunate, and he says, check this out. I've got the Har now. I'm the one with the negation, although technically he doesn't have any way of resolving the effect, but he just did it for the flex. Anyways, Lopter is going to be summoned, I believe, for the third time in this duel, and the problem with Lopter now is once you run out of Hars, you run out of the main juice that lets you win. I mean, Utgard's good, don't get me wrong, but it only gets rid of one monster, which will be Skull King in that instance, and your opponent still has these two big monsters to, well, beat the crap out of you with. It's very difficult to, once you've ran through your Hela and your Hars, it's very difficult to actually win in generators because a lot of these other monsters, like Mardell, don't really do anything when your opponent already has board presence. Like, they're decent beaters, but they're not exactly disruptive cards, and now he can just attack the tokens and end up winning the duel. I'm pretty sure, yeah, the back row, just like completely dead cards. I don't know about running Super Poly in generators. I'm not exactly sure what Super Poly like actually accomplishes there, but I don't know if I like that. Anyway, second duel is going to be Heroes against what some people believe is the best deck in the game, and that would be, well, at the time of me recording this video, that would be the Eldorado deck, specifically the Synchro build of Eldorado. And anytime people make TG Hyper Librarian and Formula Synchron, you know they're going to do some pretty crazy stuff, because like, who just summons TG Hyper Librarian and just stops? Like, no one's ever really done that unless they're like forced to stop. So he is going to go for some synchro plays, and he is going to try to get some negation, and it's going to look pretty decent. But the hero player actually has a hand that's kind of tailor-made to beat this. You see Herald of the Arclight and more synchro summonings. Usually Borreload Savage is eventually down the pipeline because that gives you negation and gives you a draw in this instance. Gonna summon in that Eldlick the Golden Lord. He did not have Golden Land forever, which is unfortunate because that could stop something like Lightning Storm, and I feel like he needs that. I'm not sure how good Mystic Mind actually is against Eldorado because they have spell and trap removal in the form of like their monsters that are also spells and traps. But anyways, he's gonna go for mine, and he is going to go ahead and pop that, and he's going to go for mine too, which will force out the Borreload Savage Dragon. But this is right here why he probably needed that Golden Land forever. He's going to hit him with that Lightning Storm, say bye-bye to all of your back row. If you're playing heroes, you don't really care about the monsters. You care about the back row. Like, the monsters have already used up they've already basically used up their utility, which was mainly just Borreload Savage Dragon. Anyways, he does have the failsafe of Nibiru, and I think it's interesting because this is a situation where if you Nibiru, man, I don't even know if you'll be able to kill the token, because that token will be massive, but I feel like you gotta use it if you feel like you're going to die. And this may be a situation where a player holds on to Nibiru for too long and doesn't actually feel like they're in danger. Because truth be told, I don't think that, like, if you have 4 monsters on field and 2 of them are in defense mode, I wouldn't feel like I'm going to die. I'd be like, nah, you're not going to kill me unless you Regeki me or something like that. But yeah, he's actually going to hold that Nibiru the entire time, and it is going to cost him the duel as he gets hit with Anki. I think him searching the second mass change is what he did not expect, because that gives him another massive attack. Even when he's cleared all his monsters, he goes for Malicious Bane and then shows him the mass chains. That is a GG no re. He would have been able to just mass change into basically any other big hero monster in his extra deck, and he would have he would have almost certainly swung for lethal. I don't see any reason that he wouldn't have just attacked, and any of those monsters would have been able to do 1800 damage. Yeah, probably should have used the Nibiru as soon as he entered battle phase, but I actually don't think that he believed that he was going to die there, because I didn't believe he was going to die. Anyways, this is the fossilized build of Kwakimaru, and like a lot of these fossil decks, you're not necessarily going to see the fossil side, because sometimes you'll hit Weathering Soldier, sometimes you won't. It is kind of cool though, like you can go for Verde Anaconda, just having a couple of monsters, and then you can, use Fossil Fusion from your deck, and you don't actually have to worry about drawing it. You also have Super Polymerization, which, works in conjunction with the Verde Anaconda. I do kind of wonder how easy, I mean, we saw Verde Anaconda used in the duel, but I don't know, Quackimiru is a deck that doesn't really, like, it's hard to kind of sustain advantage in this deck because the monsters all kind of like tribute themselves, or like they give themselves up basically to take out your opponent's cards. So sometimes it's kind of hard to get multiple monsters on the field if your monsters are always tributing. So we did see Verde Anaconda, but I'm not sure if I would rely on that. He does have oh no, wait. What is this? I'm looking for an instant fusion because I'm looking at the extra deck and I'm like, okay, I see a Thousand Eyes Restrict, I see a Millennium Eyes, no instant fusion unless I'm just blind and I'm missing it. I'm gonna, you know what? That's just bothering me. I'm gonna put an instant, if I can spell, I'm gonna put an instant fusion in here, which, okay, let's put the ban list on there because I'm not exactly seeing how you'd be able to summon that, like summon these monsters without the instant fusion. So I was gonna say instant fusion could help you get to Predaplant Verde Anaconda, but there was no instant fusion. Anyways, there's one now. If you guys are interested in playing this build, of course, it will be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.